The small coastal town of Coronado, California, lived and breathed Navy SEAL culture. With the Naval Special Warfare Command based there, it wasn't unusual to spot the elite warriors jogging along the beach at dawn or gathering at local establishments after training. For most residents, the SEALs were simply part of the landscape, respected, admired, but familiar. For Lieutenant Commander Alexandra, Alex, Reeves, however, the SEALs represented both a dream and a barrier. At 32, she had spent 10 years in naval intelligence, building an impressive record of operational success that few could match. With advanced degrees in linguistics and military strategy, fluency in 4 languages, and combat zone experience, Alex had earned her place among the military's finest analysts. But she wanted more. When the Navy announced a pilot program allowing a small number of female officers to join certain SEAL units in intelligence and support roles, Alex was the first to volunteer. Though not combat positions, these roles would integrate women into the teams in ways never before permitted. After 6 months of modified training, still brutally demanding though different from the full BUD-S course, Alex became one of just 3 women selected for the program. Her assignment? Naval Special Warfare Development Group, the most elite SEAL unit, where she would serve as intelligence liaison and mission planning specialist. It was unprecedented, controversial, and exactly where she wanted to be. "Lieutenant Commander Reeves reporting for duty, sir," Alex said, standing ramrod straight before Commander James Blackwood, the team leader and a SEAL with 20 years of experience. Blackwood barely looked up from his desk. "At ease, Reeves." His voice carried the gravel of too many underwater demolition exercises. "Your office is down the hall. Johnson will show you around. Briefing at 800 tomorrow." "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." As she turned to leave, Blackwood finally looked at her fully. "One more thing, Reeves. What's your call sign?" Alex hesitated. In naval intelligence, call signs were used but held less cultural significance than among pilots or SEALs. During her modified training, her instructors had nicknamed her Viper Falcon after an incident where she'd identified a nearly invisible target during a night exercise. "Viper Falcon, sir," she replied. Blackwood's laugh was sharp and dismissive. "Viper Falcon sounds like something from a kid's cartoon." He shook his head. "We'll see about that. Dismissed." Alex maintained her composure as she left his office, but the sting of his dismissal followed her down the hallway where Chief Petty Officer Johnson waited. "Don't mind the commander," Johnson said as he led her through the facility. "He treats everyone like that at first." "Of course," Alex replied, though she suspected otherwise. Her suspicions were confirmed the next morning. As she entered the briefing room, conversations stopped. 12 men in various stages of tactical dress turned to stare at the woman in naval uniform. Alex recognized the hostility immediately, but walked confidently to an empty seat. "Gentlemen, this is Lieutenant Commander Reeves," Blackwood announced without warmth. "She'll be joining our intelligence section as part of the new integration program." A tall, red-haired SEAL with lieutenant's bars leaned toward his neighbor. "Guess we're babysitting now," he muttered, just loud enough for Alex to hear. "Lieutenant Walsh," Blackwood said sharply, "something to share with the group." "No, sir," Walsh replied, unrepentant. Blackwood turned to a large screen displaying satellite imagery. "We have a developing situation in northern Yemen, potential high-value target identified at this compound." He pointed to a cluster of buildings. "Intel suggests Farouk al-Habib may be using this as a temporary base, limited window for confirmation and potential action." Alex studied the imagery carefully, noting details others might miss from her years analyzing similar compounds in the region. "Sir," she said, "those solar panels on the southern building are positioned incorrectly." The room went quiet again, this time with a different quality to the silence. "Explain," Blackwood ordered. "In Yemen, solar panels are typically angled southwest for maximum efficiency given their latitude. These are deliberately facing southeast, reducing their effectiveness by approximately 30%. She stood and approached the screen. "Based on my experience in the region, this suggests they're being used to signal something, possibly that the compound is active and receiving visitors." Lieutenant Walsh scoffed. "Or maybe they just don't know how to set up solar panels." "Negative," Alex continued, undeterred. "The positioning is too precise to be accidental. Additionally, the shadow pattern here indicates a concealed entrance that doesn't appear on our schematics." She pointed to a seemingly solid wall. I've seen this pattern before in compounds used by Al-Habib's network. Blackwood studied her, then the imagery. Johnson, get me confirmation on that wall section. Already on it, sir, Johnson replied, tapping rapidly on his tablet. After a moment, he nodded. Thermal imaging from last week's drone pass shows a temperature differential consistent with a hidden doorway. For the first time, Blackwood looked at Alex with something other than skepticism. Good catch, Reeves. The briefing continued, with Alex providing additional insights based on her extensive knowledge of the region and target. By the end, even Walsh had stopped making comments, though his expression remained skeptical. As they filed out, Blackwood stopped her. Reeves, I want a full analysis on my desk by 1600. Already working on it, sir, she replied, having begun making notes during the briefing. The next few days established a pattern. Alex arrived first, left last, and produced intelligence assessments of exceptional quality. She was professional, thorough, and unfailingly polite, even when faced with thinly veiled hostility from certain team members. The small workspace assigned to her gradually filled with maps, analysis charts, and regional intelligence reports she'd requested from her contacts throughout the intelligence community. While the SEALs conducted their physical training and tactical drills, Alex built a comprehensive picture of their operational environment. A week into her assignment, she was working late when Chief Johnson entered her office. "Commander wants to see you," he said. Alex found Blackwood in the tactical planning room, surrounded by senior team members, including Walsh. They were discussing the Yemen operation, now in final planning stages. Reeves, Blackwood said, "We've got updated satellite imagery showing increased activity at the target site. I need your assessment." Alex examined the new images carefully. Something felt wrong, but she couldn't immediately identify what. The men waited impatiently as she compared the new imagery with older files. "Sir," she finally said, "I believe this is a trap." Walsh rolled his eyes. "Based on what, women's intuition?" Alex ignored him, addressing Blackwood directly. "The pattern of vehicle movement has changed. Previous surveillance showed randomized arrival times consistent with normal operations. These movements are too regular, too visible." She pulled up another image. "And here, these guards are positioned for visibility, not security. They want to be seen." "That's pretty thin," Walsh objected. "There's more," Alex continued. "Communications intercepts from the past 48 hours show an unusual spike in encrypted transmissions, but a decrease in routine communications. It's as if they're performing for us, creating an impression of increased activity while actual operations have gone quiet." Blackwood frowned, considering her words. "So you think they know we're watching?" "Yes, sir, and they're expecting us." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. If Alex was right, the mission as planned could lead the team into an ambush. Walsh broke the silence. "With respect, sir, we're basing a critical go-no-go decision on the feelings of someone who's never seen actual combat." Alex turned to face him directly. "Lieutenant Walsh, I've spent 3 tours in forward intelligence positions in both Afghanistan and Syria. I've identified similar deception patterns 5 times. Each time, following teams encountered prepared resistance. Twice, it resulted in casualties." Before Walsh could respond, an alarm sounded on one of the computer terminals. Johnson moved quickly to check it. "Sir, new intelligence coming in from NSA intercepts. Encrypted communication just decrypted." His face paled slightly. "They're discussing preparations for welcoming guests at the compound." Blackwood looked from Johnson to Alex, his expression unreadable. Finally, he nodded. "Stand down mission planning. We need to reassess." He turned to Alex. "Reeves, I want a complete analysis of this deception pattern, potential alternative approaches, and recommendations by 700. "Yes, sir," she replied. As the team dispersed, Alex felt Walsh's eyes on her. She'd won this round, but she knew the battle for acceptance was far from over. Still, she had done what she came to do, use her skills to keep these men alive. If that meant working twice as hard to prove herself, she would do it without complaint. Little did she know that the situation in Yemen was about to become far more complex and dangerous than anyone anticipated, and her unique skills would soon be tested in ways none of them could imagine. 2 days later, the team gathered again in the briefing room. The atmosphere was different, more focused, less hostile. Alex's analysis had been thorough, her conclusions supported by additional intelligence that confirmed her suspicions. The Yemen compound was indeed set up as a trap, with hidden fighting positions and a significant force ready to ambush any assault team. Commander Blackwood stood at the front of the room, grim-faced. Thanks to Lieutenant Commander Reeves' intelligence work, we've avoided walking into a prepared ambush. He nodded toward Alex, the first public acknowledgement of her contribution. However, our mission parameters have changed. New intelligence confirms Farouk al-Habib is in the region, but not at the compound we've been monitoring. He brought up a new set of images on the main screen. This is a small village 30 kilometers east of our original target. Surveillance indicates al-Habib arrived there approximately 18 hours ago. He's traveling with minimal security to avoid detection, which gives us a rare opportunity. Alex studied the new location. Unlike the heavily fortified compound, this was a simple collection of stone buildings surrounded by agricultural fields. The civilian presence complicated things significantly. Our window is narrow, Blackwood continued. Al-Habib is expected to move again within 24 hours. We need to insert, confirm identity, capture if possible, eliminate if necessary, and extract, all without alerting his network that we've shifted focus from the decoy compound. Lieutenant Walsh, who had been unusually quiet since the discovery of the trap, leaned forward. What about local civilians? Minimal contact, Blackwood replied. We'll insert at 200 local time when most villagers will be asleep. Our target is in this building on the northern edge. He indicated a two-story structure somewhat separate from the others. Satellite thermal imaging shows only 6 people inside. The team began discussing tactical approaches, insertion methods, and contingency plans. Alex listened, noting the efficiency with which they worked. These men might not have welcomed her, but they were undeniably good at their jobs. Reeves, Blackwood said suddenly, you've studied al-Habib's patterns more than anyone. What are we missing? All eyes turned to her. It was a test, Alex knew, a chance to demonstrate her value beyond identifying the earlier trap. Sir al-Habib never stays anywhere without a backup escape route, she replied. The building layout shows a single staircase and 2 ground-level exits, both easily covered by an assault team. That suggests he's either getting sloppy, which is unlikely, or there's something we're not seeing. She approached the screen, examining the thermal image more closely. There's a temperature differential here, along this wall. She pointed to a faint color variation. It's subtle but consistent with an underground passage. Historical satellite imagery shows this building was rebuilt 3 years ago after a fire. That would have provided an opportunity to construct a hidden exit. Blackwood considered this. Where would it lead? Alex pulled up a wider view of the village. Based on the terrain and building placement, most likely toward this drainage culvert 200 meters northeast. It provides cover and leads to a road where a vehicle could be waiting. Chief Johnson nodded appreciatively. We should position someone to cover that potential exit. Agreed, Blackwood said. Walsh, you and Davis will secure the culvert position. He turned back to the overall plan. Wheels up in 4 hours, gear check in 2. Reeves, you'll be in tactical operations monitoring the feed and providing real-time intelligence support. Alex had expected this. She wasn't combat qualified for field operations with the team. Still, being the one left behind stung slightly. Yes, sir. As the briefing concluded, and the men dispersed to prepare, Alex returned to her office to gather the relevant intelligence files for the operation. She was cross-referencing facial recognition markers for al-Habib when Walsh appeared in her doorway. Reeves, he said stiffly, got a minute. She looked up surprised. Of course, Lieutenant. Walsh entered, clearly uncomfortable. He was fully geared up, tactical vest and equipment making his already imposing frame more substantial. I wanted to say, he hesitated, good call on the trap. You saved us from walking into a bad situation. The admission clearly cost him something. Alex nodded, accepting the olive branch for what it was. Just doing my job, same as you. Yeah, well, he shifted his weight. About the culvert position, any other details you think might help? It was the first time any of the operators had directly asked for her input on a tactical matter. Satellite passes show it's rarely used this time of year, dry season. Good cover from the main village, but exposed on the north side. If I were planning an escape route, I'd have a vehicle waiting within 100 meters, probably behind that ridge to the east. Walsh considered this. So we should split coverage, one on the culvert, one watching the road approach behind the ridge. That's what I'd recommend. He nodded. Thanks. He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Viper Falcon isn't the worst call sign I've heard. It wasn't exactly an apology, but it was progress. What's yours? She asked. A hint of a smile crossed his face. Sasquatch. Alex couldn't help but laugh, because of the red hair. And the size 13s, he admitted, gesturing to his boots. The moment of camaraderie was broken by an announcement over the intercom. All team members report for final briefing. Good luck out there, Sasquatch, Alex said. Walsh nodded. Keep an eye on us, Viper Falcon. 4 hours later, Alex sat in the Tactical Operations Center, watching the mission unfold through multiple feeds. 2 operators monitored communications while she focused on intelligence assessment, ready to identify any changes or threats the team might encounter. The insertion went smoothly. A high-altitude, low-opening parachute drop put the team 2 kilometers from the village, and they covered the remaining distance on foot. Thermal imaging showed the occupants of the target building still in place, unaware of the approaching danger. Alpha Team in position, came Blackwood's voice over the secure channel. Bravo Team status. In position at the culvert, Walsh replied. No movement. Davis is covering the road approach. Execute on my mark, Blackwood ordered. 3, 2, 1 mark. Alex watched intently as the assault unfolded with practiced precision. The team breached both ground-level entrances simultaneously, clearing rooms with ruthless efficiency. Bodycam footage showed brief resistance from 2 guards, quickly neutralized with minimal noise. Ground floor clear, reported one operator, moving to second level. Alex studied the thermal feed, nodding something odd. Commander, be advised, thermal signature in northeast corner of second floor is cooling rapidly. Possible recent movement. Copy that, Blackwood responded. Approaching now. The bodycam footage showed the team entering a bedroom where a bed had clearly been recently vacated. A cup of tea on a side table still steamed. Target is moving, Blackwood announced. Likely using the escape route. Bravo Team, be ready. Alex switched to the external camera feeds, scanning for any movement near the culvert. There, a shadow moving differently from the wind-blown vegetation. Bravo Team, movement at your 2 o'clock approaching the culvert entrance. I see him, Walsh confirmed. One individual moving quickly, cannot confirm identity from this position. Hold for positive ID, Blackwood ordered. Alex enhanced the thermal image, comparing the heat signature profile to known measurements of their target. Height and build are consistent with Al-Habib. Thermal pattern shows right shoulder injury consistent with intelligence reports from last month's drone strike. Good enough for me, Walsh replied, moving to intercept. Alex watched as Walsh closed in on the fleeing figure, who remained unaware of the trap ahead. Just as Al-Habib reached the culvert entrance, Walsh emerged from cover, weapon raised. U.S. Navy, on the ground now. The figure froze, then slowly raised his hands. The night vision feed clearly showed Farouk Al-Habib's distinctive features as he sank to his knees. Target secured, Walsh reported. No injuries, no shots fired. Outstanding, Blackwood responded. Alpha Team completing sweep and moving to your position. Extraction in 8 minutes. The operation had gone flawlessly, a clean capture with no casualties on either side. As Alex watched the team secure their high-value target for transport, she felt a surge of professional satisfaction. Her intelligence work had not only prevented the team from walking into a trap, but had directly contributed to mission success. 3 hours later, with Al-Habib transferred to intelligence officials and the team safely returned to base, Commander Blackwood called a debrief. Despite the hour, everyone was riding the adrenaline high of a successful operation. Clean execution all around, Blackwood began. The intel was solid, the target is secured, and everyone comes home. That's how we do it. The team members exchanged satisfied looks and a few subdued fist bumps. This was what they lived for. Lieutenant Walsh, Blackwood continued, good work at the culvert. Your positioning was perfect. Walsh nodded in acknowledgement, then surprised everyone by adding, credit where it's due, sir. Reeves suggested splitting the coverage to watch both the culvert and the potential vehicle extraction point. Davis spotted a car waiting exactly where she predicted it would be. Alex felt all eyes turn to her, but these looks contained something new, professional respect. Blackwood nodded. Noted, he turned to Alex. Reeves, your real-time analysis of the thermal images gave us the edge we needed. Well done. Thank you, sir, she replied, maintaining her professional demeanor despite the warm satisfaction spreading through her chest. As the debrief concluded, Alex gathered her materials to return to her office. The adrenaline was wearing off, and exhaustion was setting in after the long night. "Hey, Viper Falcon," called one of the operators, Martinez, a seasoned chief petty officer with a reputation for taciturn professionalism. "We're grabbing breakfast at McPee's in an hour. You should join." The invitation, casual as it was, represented a significant shift. McPee's Irish pub was a SEAL hangout, and being invited meant something. "I appreciate that," she replied, genuinely touched. "Let me finish up here and I'll meet you there." As the team filed out, Chief Johnson paused beside her. "Not bad for your first real operation with the team." Alex smiled slightly. Still a long way to go. "Maybe," Johnson agreed, "but you've made a start." He glanced toward the departing operators. "They don't invite just anyone to McPee's." She nodded, understanding the significance. It wasn't full acceptance, that would take more time and more operations, but it was a beginning. For now, that was enough. What she didn't know was that the success of the Yemen operation was about to catapult her and the team into a much larger and more dangerous situation, one that would test her skills and their newfound respect to the limit. 3 weeks after the successful Yemen operation, Alex found herself in a new routine. The outright hostility had faded, replaced by a cautious professional respect. She was included in all mission planning sessions now, her intelligence assessments given serious consideration. She still heard the occasional murmur about the intelligence officer experiment, but such comments were becoming rare. More importantly, she'd proven her value. 2 more operations had gone smoothly with her intelligence support, though neither had been as high profile as the Al-Habib capture. She'd even been invited to observe some of the team's training exercises, further integrating her into their operational rhythm. On this particular morning, Alex was reviewing intelligence reports when Commander Blackwood called an unexpected all-hands meeting. The tension in his voice suggested something significant had developed. When she entered the briefing room, the atmosphere was different, heavier, more focused. Admiral Lewis, the Naval Special Warfare Command's senior officer, stood at the front beside Blackwood. His presence alone indicated the seriousness of whatever was about to be discussed. "Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Lewis began once everyone was seated, "what I'm about to share is classified at the highest levels. 3 days ago, terrorists seized the American research vessel Horizon, which was conducting oceanographic research in the Arabian Sea. The vessel has 28 crew members, including 6 civilian scientists." He brought up satellite imagery showing a large ship being escorted by 2 smaller vessels. "Intelligence suggests the Horizon is being taken to this port in Somalia, controlled by the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. We believe they intend to hold the crew for ransom and potentially exploit the ship's advanced research equipment." Alex studied the images, her mind already racing through potential scenarios. The Horizon was a converted oil surveyor, substantial in size and likely difficult to approach undetected. "What makes this situation particularly volatile," the Admiral continued, "is that one of the civilian scientists is Dr. Alina Bennett, the daughter of Senator William Bennett, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee." A murmur ran through the assembled team. Having such a high-profile hostage complicated matters enormously. "Our mission," Blackwood picked up, "is to insert covertly before the ship reaches port, neutralize the hostiles, secure the crew, and extract safely. We have approximately 36 hours before they reach Somali territorial waters." The Admiral nodded grimly. "I don't need to emphasize the political implications if this goes wrong. The President has authorized whatever resources you need, but the operation must remain deniable until our people are safe." As the initial briefing concluded and the team began breaking into planning groups, Blackwood called Alex aside. "Reeves, I need everything you can find on Al-Shabaab's naval operations, particularly their boarding procedures and hostage protocols." Yes, sir. I'll coordinate with Naval Intelligence and get you a preliminary assessment within 2 hours. Blackwood hesitated, then added, I'm also putting you on the advance team for this operation. Alex froze, sir. You'll deploy with the forward intelligence element to the USS Kearsarge. Your linguistic skills and knowledge of Al-Shabaab's communication patterns will be valuable for real-time monitoring as we approach the target vessel. It wasn't a combat role, but it meant being in theater rather than supporting from headquarters. It was a significant vote of confidence. Understood, sir. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Blackwood replied grimly. This is going to be complex and dangerous as hell, wheels up in 6 hours. The following day found Alex aboard the USS Kearsarge, an amphibious assault ship positioned 200 nautical miles from the projected interception point with the horizon. She had set up in the ship's intelligence center, surrounded by communications equipment and multiple data feeds. Working alongside Navy intelligence specialists, she had established a comprehensive monitoring operation to track the target vessel and intercept any communications. Lieutenant Walsh entered, now geared up in his maritime assault equipment. Reeves, you got a minute? Of course. She stepped away from her workstation to speak privately. We're finalizing the assault plan, he said. The commander wants your input on timing based on the communications intercepts. Alex pulled up the relevant data on a nearby screen. We've been monitoring their radio discipline. They follow a regular check-in pattern every 30 minutes during the day, hourly at night. Their last scheduled communication with their shore contact is at 100. After that, we have a 2-hour window before they'd be expected to check in again. Walsh nodded. So we hit them at 1:15, giving us maximum time before an alarm could be raised from missed communications. Exactly. Additionally, based on their sleep rotation patterns, that's when they'll have minimum personnel on alert. Thermal imaging shows they concentrate their forces here. She pointed to the ship's bridge and nearby compartments, with only minimal security on the lower decks where we believe the hostages are being held. Walsh studied the layout. Good work, this helps. He hesitated, then asked, You ever been on an operation like this before? Not directly, she admitted. I've supported similar hostage extractions from tactical operations centers, but never from a forward position. Just follow protocols and you'll be fine, he said. Remember, your job is intelligence support. Leave the door kicking to us. Wouldn't dream of stepping on your toes, Sasquatch, she replied with a small smile. He almost smiled back. See you at the final briefing, Viper Falcon. Hours later, as darkness fell over the Arabian Sea, the assault team gathered for final preparations. Alex provided her latest intelligence update, including thermal imaging of the target vessel showing the distribution of personnel and likely location of hostages. Based on temperature variations and movement patterns, she explained, we believe the majority of hostages are being held in these 2 compartments on the lower deck. Dr. Bennett, however, appears to be held separately, likely here. She indicated a small cabin near the bridge. They seem to understand her value as a high-profile hostage. Commander Blackwood nodded. That complicates things. We'll need to split the assault team to secure both hostage locations simultaneously. The plan took shape quickly. 2 SEAL elements would approach the horizon using combat rubber raiding craft under cover of darkness. One team would secure the main hostage group, while the second, led by Blackwood himself, would recover Dr. Bennett and neutralize the command element on the bridge. Reeves, you'll remain on the Kearsarge monitoring communications, Blackwood instructed. If you detect any indication that they've been alerted to our approach, immediately signal abort. Understood, sir. As the briefing concluded and the operators began final equipment checks, Alex returned to the intelligence center to ensure all monitoring systems were optimized. The tension was palpable as 0 hour approached. At precisely 30, the SEAL team departed the Kearsarge on 2 combat helicopters, which would drop them at a safe distance from the target for the final approach by sea. Alex watched their progress on tactical displays, simultaneously monitoring all communications frequencies used by the terrorists. All elements, this is Overwatch, she reported through her headset. Target vessel maintaining course and speed, no indication of alert status. Last scheduled communication completed at 100 as expected. Copy Overwatch, came Blackwood's terse reply. approaching insertion point. For 15 agonizing minutes, Alex watched as the two small radar signatures representing the raiding craft approached the much larger vessel. The night was cloudy with moderate seas, good conditions for a covert approach. Suddenly, one of her monitoring systems pinged. An unexpected transmission had been detected from the target vessel, brief, encrypted, and not part of the established pattern. "Commander, be advised, anomalous transmission detected from target," she reported immediately. "Source content," Blackwood demanded. Alex's fingers flew over her keyboard, analyzing the signal. Low-power transmission, likely handheld radio rather than main communication system. Encryption pattern matches Al-Shabaab tactical protocols. Unable to decrypt content, but duration and pattern suggest a warning or alert. A tense silence followed. The SEAL teams were now less than 2 minutes from boarding, too committed to easily abort, yet potentially heading into an ambush. "Assessment?" Blackwood asked, his voice tight. This was why she was here, to make exactly this kind of real-time intelligence judgment. Alex reviewed all available data, then made her call. "Pattern suggests localized communication, not a distress call to shore. Likely internal alert only. They may have spotted our approach, but haven't had time to fully prepare. Recommend proceeding with heightened caution, particularly at the bridge entry point, which is closest to the transmission source." Another brief silence. "Copy that. Proceeding with modified approach. Team 2, divert to secondary entry point." Alex watched the radar signatures adjust course slightly, then reach the horizon. From this point, she could do nothing but monitor communications and wait. For the next 20 minutes, sporadic reports came through, terse, coded updates as the SEAL teams methodically cleared compartments and neutralized threats. Twice, Alex detected brief terrorist communications, relaying their position data to Blackwood's team to help them intercept and neutralize the senders before they could organize an effective resistance. "Main hostage compartment secured," came Walsh's voice eventually. 25 crew members safe, minor injuries only, moving to extraction point." Alex felt a surge of relief, but it was short-lived. Blackwood's team, tasked with the more difficult objective of securing the bridge and rescuing Dr. Bennett, had gone silent for the past 3 minutes. "Commander Blackwood, status report," came the voice of the tactical operations officer beside Alex. "No response." "Team leader, come in," the officer repeated, tension evident in his voice. Just as they were about to declare a communication emergency, Blackwood's voice cracked through. "Bridge secured. 4 tangos neutralized. Dr. Bennett." He paused, and Alex could hear labored breathing. "Dr. Bennett not an expected location, proceeding to secondary search areas." Alex immediately pulled up the latest thermal imagery, searching for any heat signature that could represent the missing scientist. The images were several minutes old now, too dated to be reliable for a fluid situation. Then she had an idea. "Commander, Dr. Bennett's personnel file indicates she wears a medical alert bracelet for a severe penicillin allergy. It's a specific model with a small RFID chip. If she's still wearing it, we might be able to detect it." "How?" Blackwood demanded. "The Horizon's research equipment includes short-range RFID scanners for tracking underwater sample containers. If we can access that system." "Do it," Blackwood ordered. "Chief Martinez is at the ship's research lab now. Patch through to him directly." Alex quickly established communication with Martinez and guided him through activating the ship's specialized research equipment. It was a long shot, but potentially their best option for quickly locating the missing scientist. "System is online," Martinez reported after several tense minutes, getting multiple returns from sample containers throughout the ship. "Filter for the specific frequency used by medical alert devices," Alex instructed. "Tag code should start with MEDI followed by a 6-digit identifier." More agonizing seconds passed. "Got one," Martinez finally reported. "Weak signal coming from the engine room area." "Commander, we have a potential location," Alex relayed immediately. "Engine room complex, possibly using Dr. Bennett as a human shield or planning to damage the vessel." "Copy that. Walsh, take your element and secure the main hostages for extraction. My team will proceed to the engine room." Alex returned to monitoring communications, feeling helpless as the operation reached its most critical phase. The minutes crawled by with only occasional status updates from the teams. Then a sudden burst of gunfire came through Blackwood's open microphone, followed by shouting and more shots. Alex gripped the edge of her console, listening intently as the chaotic sounds continued. When Blackwood's voice finally returned, it was strained. Package secured. 2 operators wounded, 1 critical, need immediate medevac. The next hour passed in a blur of activity as helicopters were dispatched for emergency extraction. Medical teams prepared to receive casualties, and the liberated hostages were brought safely aboard the Kearsarge. Alex remained at her post, continuing to monitor for any indication that the terrorists had managed to alert their shore contacts. Finally, as dawn broke over the horizon, the last helicopter touched down carrying Commander Blackwood, the wounded operators, and Dr. Alina Bennett, shaken but unharmed. Only when all personnel were accounted for did Alex allow herself to leave the intelligence center. As she stepped onto the flight deck, she saw Walsh supervising the processing of the rescued hostages. "Reeves," he called out when he spotted her. "That RFID trick saved the operation. Bennett was rigged to a dead man's switch with enough explosives to sink the ship. We got to her with minutes to spare." The full weight of how close they'd come to disaster hit her. "How's the wounded operator?" Walsh's expression tightened. "Peterson took a round to the chest. Doctors are working on him now." He hesitated, then added quietly, "If we'd been even 5 minutes later finding her location." He didn't need to finish the thought. Alex nodded, understanding the unspoken acknowledgement. Her intelligence work had directly saved lives today, not just the hostages, but the operators as well. As they stood together watching the sunrise, Alex realized something had fundamentally changed. She was no longer the outsider, the experiment, the woman with the ridiculous call sign. Today, she had proven herself not just useful but essential to the team's success. What she didn't yet realize was that the Horizon operation was about to thrust both her and the team into the international spotlight, and that the most difficult challenges still lay ahead. 2 days after the successful rescue operation, the USS Kearsarge docked at the naval base in Bahrain. Despite efforts to keep the mission classified, news of the dramatic hostage rescue had leaked to the press. Headlines worldwide celebrated the daring operation, and speculation about the elite unit responsible ran rampant. Alex stood in Commander Blackwood's makeshift office aboard the carrier, watching CNN's coverage on a small television. Senator Bennett was giving an emotional press conference, thanking the brave American military personnel who had rescued his daughter. "So much for operational security," Blackwood muttered, switching off the TV. "We're being recalled to Coronado immediately. Brass wants a full debrief." "What about Peterson?" Alex asked. Senior Chief Peterson, the operator who had been critically wounded, had been stabilized but remained in serious condition. "Medical transport is flying him back to Walter Reed. Prognosis is good, but he's out of action for at least 6 months. Blackwood ran a hand through his short hair, a rare gesture of fatigue. "Wheels up in 2 hours. Get your gear together." Upon their return to Coronado, the team found the base buzzing with activity and the command leadership waiting impatiently for their arrival. Admiral Lewis met them as soon as they landed. "Outstanding work," he told them, shaking hands with Blackwood. "The President himself has expressed his gratitude. Dr. Bennett is safely reunited with her family and providing valuable intelligence about what she observed during her captivity." The team acknowledged the praise with professional nods, too experienced to get caught up in the momentary glory. They all knew that success was expected, not celebrated. "Unfortunately," the Admiral continued, "the political situation has become complicated. The Somali government is denying any connection to al-Shabaab while simultaneously condemning our violation of their sovereignty. The UN is calling for an investigation into the incident." "With respect, sir," Blackwood replied, "we conducted the operation in international waters, well outside Somali territory." "I'm aware of that, Commander, but perception matters as much as reality in these situations." The Admiral turned to Alex. "Lieutenant Commander Reeves, I understand you maintained comprehensive records of the target vessel's position throughout the operation." "Yes, sir," Alex confirmed. "We have continuous satellite tracking data showing the Horizon remained in international waters until we intercepted it. The operation was conducted approximately 37 nautical miles from the Somali coast, well beyond their territorial claim. Good. I need that data compiled and verified for the State Department immediately. There's going to be a closed-door briefing for the Senate Intelligence Committee tomorrow, and your intelligence assessment will be a key component. Alex blinked in surprise. My assessment, sir. You were the intelligence lead on this operation, weren't you? The Admiral's expression made it clear this wasn't really a question. The Pentagon wants the officer who tracked the target vessel and coordinated the real-time intelligence to provide the official analysis. Blackwood spoke up. Lieutenant Commander Reeves was instrumental to the operation's success, sir. Her work identifying Dr. Bennett's location likely saved both the hostage and our operators. The Admiral nodded. Then it's settled. Reeves, you'll fly to Washington tonight to prepare for the briefing. The rest of the team will remain on standby. This situation isn't over yet. After the Admiral departed, Alex turned to Blackwood, stunned by this sudden development. Sir, I've never briefed a Senate committee before. Just give them the facts, Reeves. You know this operation better than anyone. He almost smiled. Besides, you'll make us look good. The program needs a win like this. She understood his meaning immediately. The pilot program integrating women into SEAL units had powerful detractors both within the military and in Congress. The Horizon operation offered a compelling example of its value. I understand, sir. As she left to prepare for her unexpected trip to Washington, Walsh fell into step beside her. Senate Intelligence Committee, huh? Moving up in the world, Viper Falcon. Apparently, she glanced at him. Any advice? He considered for a moment. They're going to try to find mistakes, create doubt. Politicians always do. Just remember what actually happened out there. We succeeded because your intelligence was solid. Coming from Walsh, this was high praise indeed. Thanks, Sasquatch. The next morning found Alex in a secure briefing room beneath the Capitol building, presenting her analysis to 12 somber-faced senators. Using satellite imagery, communication intercepts, and the operation timeline, she methodically established the facts of the mission. In conclusion, she finished, the operation was conducted in full compliance with international law, resulted in the safe recovery of all 28 hostages, and neutralized a significant terrorist threat with minimal force. Senator Bennett, his face still showing the strain of his daughter's ordeal, spoke first. Lieutenant Commander Reeves, my family and I are deeply grateful for your service and that of your team. I understand you were personally responsible for locating my daughter when she had been moved from her expected position. It was a team effort, Senator. Every operator and intelligence specialist contributed to the successful outcome. Another senator leaned forward. Commander, there are rumors that your presence on this mission was part of some experiment to put women in combat roles with Special Operations Forces. Is that accurate? And there it was, the question she had been expecting. Alex kept her expression neutral. Senator, I serve as an intelligence officer with Naval Special Warfare Development Group. My role in this operation was consistent with my training and expertise. I was not in a direct combat position. Yet you were forward deployed with the assault team, correct? The senator pressed. I was aboard the USS Kearsarge to provide real-time intelligence support, yes. Senator Bennett intervened. My colleagues might be missing the point here. According to my daughter, Lieutenant Commander Reeves' innovative use of the ship's RFID system to locate her was the difference between life and death. Elinor told me she was minutes away from being forced to detonate explosives that would have killed her, and likely many of the operators attempting rescue. The questioning continued for another hour, covering every aspect of the operation. Alex maintained her professional composure throughout, neither embellishing her role nor downplaying the significance of having an intelligence officer with specialized knowledge deployed forward with the assault team. When she finally returned to her hotel that evening, she was exhausted but satisfied with her performance. The committee had seemed impressed by the operation's execution and her detailed knowledge of every aspect. Her phone rang, Commander Blackwood calling for an update. How did it go? As well as could be expected, sir. They asked about the integration program, but Senator Bennett ran interference. His daughter apparently told him about the RFID tracking. Good, because things are heating up here. We've received intelligence that Al-Shabaab is planning retaliatory strikes against American interests in the region. They're specifically targeting individuals involved in the Horizon operation. Alex sat up straighter. Targeting how? They don't know our identities. That's just it, they might. There was a security breach at the hospital in Bahrain. Someone accessed Peterson's medical records, which included his unit affiliation. That would compromise the entire team, Alex realized, her mind racing through the implications. Exactly. We're implementing security protocols now. When you return tomorrow, you'll be met at the airport and brought directly to base. Admiral Lewis wants you specifically to help identify potential threats based on your knowledge of Al-Shabaab's tactics. After hanging up, Alex tried to sleep, but found herself reviewing everything she knew about the terrorist group's pattern of retribution. They were known for spectacular public attacks, but also for targeted assassinations. If they had identified the unit responsible for the Horizon operation, everyone connected to it was potentially at risk. The following day, as her flight approached San Diego, Alex gazed out the window at the familiar coastline. After the intensity of Washington, she was eager to return to the operational environment where she felt most effective. As promised, she was met at the gate by two serious-faced Navy security personnel who escorted her directly to a waiting vehicle. The drive to Coronado was tense, her escorts scanning for any sign of surveillance or threat. Back at base, she found the team gathered in the secure briefing room, faces grim as Admiral Lewis outlined the situation. We have confirmed that Al-Shabaab has identified this unit as responsible for the Horizon operation. Intelligence indicates they've dispatched at least one strike team to the San Diego area. Their likely targets include operational personnel and their families. The room remained silent as this sank in. Special operators accepted risks to themselves as part of the job, but threats to their families crossed a line that raised their collective anger to a new level. All families have been moved to secure locations, the Admiral continued. We've implemented counter-surveillance measures throughout the area. Additionally, we're working with local law enforcement to identify any suspicious individuals matching the profile of known Al-Shabaab operatives. Blackwood turned to Alex. Reeves, based on your analysis of their previous operations, what are we likely looking at? All eyes turned to her. This was the moment to demonstrate that her value went beyond a single successful operation, that her expertise was an ongoing asset to the team's security. Al-Shabaab typically employs two-man teams for targeted operations outside Somalia, she began, pulling up relevant intelligence reports on the main screen. They prefer to use operatives with clean backgrounds who can enter the country legally, often with legitimate business or student visas. She displayed passport photos of suspected operatives identified by intelligence services. These 8 individuals have been flagged as potential Al-Shabaab affiliates who have entered the U.S. in the past month. 3 of them have ties to the group's naval faction that was involved in the Horizon hijacking. Walsh studied the photos intently. Any of them show up in San Diego yet? 1, Alex confirmed, highlighting a passport photo of a somber-faced man in his 30s. Farhan Abdi entered the U.S. through New York 3 weeks ago on a business visa. Credit card records show he checked into a hotel in downtown San Diego 2 days ago. That's our guy, Blackwood said. What's his pattern? Alex brought up more data. Based on his known associates and previous operations, he's likely conducting reconnaissance now, identifying routines and vulnerabilities before striking. Al-Shabaab prefers attacks that make a statement: public venues, predictable schedules, maximum visibility. The implications were clear to everyone in the room. The base itself was too secure, but operators traveling to and from work or family members going about their daily routines would be vulnerable. We need to find him before he acts, the Admiral stated. But we need to do it quietly. If word gets out that terrorists are targeting Navy personnel in Coronado, it could cause panic and tip off any additional operatives. Sir, Alex said, an idea forming, what if we control the narrative? Give him a target that's too tempting to ignore, but on our terms. The Admiral raised an eyebrow. What are you suggesting, Commander? A public event, something that would allow us to control the environment and identify any surveillance or approach. She hesitated, then committed to the idea. The Navy Relief Charity Dinner is scheduled for tomorrow night at the Hotel del Coronado. Many senior officers and their families attend. It would be an ideal target from their perspective. "You want to use a charity dinner as bait?" Walsh asked incredulously. "Not exactly. We can quietly cancel the actual event but maintain all external appearances that it's proceeding as planned. Security personnel can pose as attendees while we monitor for any suspicious approach or reconnaissance." Blackwood nodded slowly, seeing the potential. "It could work. We control the environment, limit civilian exposure, and create an opportunity to identify and neutralize the threat." The Admiral considered the proposal. "It's risky, but less risky than waiting for them to choose the time and place." He turned to Alex. "You'll coordinate with local law enforcement and hotel security. I want a comprehensive plan on my desk in 3 hours." "Yes, sir." Alex was already mentally outlining the operation. "One more thing," the Admiral added. "You'll attend personally as one of our visible targets. Your photo from the Senate briefing was published in several newspapers. If they've been monitoring media coverage, they may have identified you as connected to the operation." Alex hadn't considered this possibility, but she nodded without hesitation. "Understood, sir." As the meeting broke up, Walsh approached her. "Bold play, Viper Falcon." "Too bold?" she asked, genuinely interested in his assessment. He shook his head. "It's exactly what I would have suggested if I'd thought of it first." He gave her a rare smile. "Just don't wear anything you can't run in. These things have a way of going sideways." The following evening, Alex stood in the grand ballroom of the Hotel del Coronado, dressed in formal Navy dinner attire complete with her service medals. Around her, dozens of security personnel posing as guests mingled and chatted, creating the appearance of a normal charity function. Outside, plainclothes officers monitored all approaches to the hotel, while surveillance teams watched for any sign of their target. Commander Blackwood, also in dress uniform, approached with 2 glasses of water designed to look like champagne. "Anything?" he asked quietly, handing her one. "Nothing yet," she replied. "But if our profile is correct, he'll conduct final reconnaissance before committing to the attack. He should be watching the arrivals." As if on cue, her earpiece crackled. "Possible subject identified approaching the east entrance. Male, approximately 35, matching target description." Alex and Blackwood maintained their casual conversation while moving toward a position with better visibility of the entrance. Through the large windows, Alex could see a man matching Farhan Abdi's photo, walking slowly along the path that led to the hotel's east doors. "That's him," she confirmed quietly into her concealed microphone. "Hold positions," came the response from the operation commander. "Let's see what he does." They watched as Abdi paused near a decorative planter, appearing to adjust something in his jacket. The surveillance team reported no visible weapon, but his behavior was consistent with someone conducting final preparations. "He's making his move," Alex murmured, seeing him straighten his posture and walk purposefully toward the entrance. What happened next unfolded with breathtaking speed. As Abdi approached the doors, 2 plainclothes officers moved to intercept him. Spotting them, he immediately reached into his jacket. The officers reacted instantly, tackling him to the ground before he could withdraw whatever he was reaching for. Within seconds, the area was swarmed by security personnel who had been strategically positioned nearby. Guests inside the ballroom, all of whom were law enforcement or military personnel, continued their conversations as if nothing unusual was happening, maintaining the illusion of a normal event for any possible accomplices watching. Alex and Blackwood moved to a secure room off the main ballroom where video feeds showed the suspect being taken into custody. A search revealed he had been carrying a concealed pistol with a silencer and multiple spare magazines, the equipment of an assassin, not a suicide bomber. "He was hunting specific targets," Blackwood observed grimly. "Yes," Alex agreed. "The silencer suggests he wanted to eliminate individuals quietly, possibly creating confusion before escaping." The initial search of Abdi's hotel room yielded surveillance photos of the base entrance and several team members, including both Alex and Blackwood, confirming that he had indeed been targeting them specifically. More importantly, investigators found evidence of communications with at least one other operative still in the area. The threat wasn't over. 4 hours later, back at the base command center, Alex coordinated with intelligence agencies to identify the second operative. Using Abdi's phone records and hotel surveillance, they narrowed the search to 3 possible individuals who had been in contact with him since his arrival in San Diego. "This one," Alex said finally, highlighting an image captured from hotel security cameras, "matches the profile of Auden Farrell, known associate of Abdi from operations in Kenya and Yemen." The hunt for the second operative continued through the night and into the following day. Finally, using cell tower data and predictive analysis based on al-Shabaab's operational patterns, they located him in a small apartment near the harbor, apparently preparing to flee the country. The arrest was executed flawlessly by FBI counterterrorism agents, with the SEAL team on standby but not directly involved. When it was over, both threats had been neutralized without a single shot fired or any public awareness of how close the city had come to a terrorist incident. 2 days later, with the immediate threat contained and the investigation handed over to federal authorities, Admiral Lewis called the team together for a debrief. "Outstanding work by everyone involved," he began. "The operation to neutralize these threats was textbook, proactive, controlled, and with 0 casualties on either side. Intelligence, tactical planning, and execution all meshed perfectly." He turned to Alex specifically. "Lieutenant Commander Reeves, your analysis of the threat and development of the counter-operation was exceptional. Your understanding of the adversary's methods gave us the edge we needed to stay ahead of their planning cycle." "Thank you, sir," she replied, maintaining her professional demeanor despite the warmth of pride in her chest. "I've received word from Washington," the Admiral continued. "The pilot program integrating female officers into special operations units has been deemed a success and will be expanded. Additionally, your performance in particular has been noted at the highest levels." The room remained silent, but Alex could feel the shift in energy. This was no longer an experiment or a political checkbox. It was an operational reality that had proven its worth twice now, first with the Horizon rescue and now with the counterterrorism operation. After the briefing concluded, Alex found herself surrounded by team members offering genuine congratulations. Not the cautious professional acknowledgement of before, but real appreciation from operators who now fully accepted her as one of their own. Chief Johnson summed it up best. "Not bad for someone whose call sign we used to laugh at, Viper Falcon." Walsh nodded in agreement. "I think we've all learned something important here." "What's that, Sasquatch?" Alex asked. His expression was serious but without its former hostility. Never judge an operator by their cover story. It's what they bring to the mission that matters. As the group dispersed, Commander Blackwood approached her. "Walk with me, Reeves." They headed toward the waterfront, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the base. "I owe you an apology," Blackwood said after they had walked in silence for a minute. "When this program started, I saw it as a political stunt that would endanger my operators and compromise our effectiveness." Alex said nothing, letting him continue. "I was wrong," he admitted. "Your contributions to this team have saved lives, not just the hostages on the horizon, but our own people as well. You've earned your place here, not because of some initiative from Washington, but because you're damn good at what you do." "Thank you, sir," she replied, genuinely moved by his words. "That means a lot." He nodded, then asked the question she hadn't seen coming. "So what's next for you, Reeves? Word is the brass wants to use you as the poster child for the program. Speaking engagements, recruitment, the works." The thought had crossed her mind. Her visibility after the Senate briefing and the successful counterterrorism operation made her an obvious choice for such a role. It would mean advancement, possibly faster promotion, certainly more recognition. But as she looked out over the water toward the training areas where SEALs were even now preparing for whatever mission might come next, she knew her answer. "My place is with the team, sir, if you'll have me." Blackwood studied her for a moment, then nodded with the first real smile she'd seen from him. "I was hoping you'd say that. We have a deployment coming up in 3 weeks. North Africa, complex intelligence environment. I need my best people on it." "I'll be ready," she promised. As they turned back toward the command building, Blackwood added casually, "By the way, it's official now. Your call sign has been entered into the unit records." Alex couldn't help but smile. "Viper Falcon, sir." "Viper Falcon," he confirmed. And for what it's worth, after what happened with the Horizon and this counterterrorism operation, nobody's laughing anymore. In fact, he added with a hint of pride, when the other teams heard about how you tracked Dr. Bennett using that medical bracelet, they went silent, completely silent. That's when I knew you'd earned their respect for good. As the sun set over Coronado, Lieutenant Commander Alexandra, Viper Falcon, Reeves walked back to her office with a sense of quiet satisfaction. The path had been difficult, the challenges substantial, but she had proven herself not through words or politics, but through performance when it mattered most. Her call sign, once a source of mockery, was now a badge of honor, not because it had changed, but because she had changed the perception of what it represented. And in doing so, she had opened the door for others to follow, proving that in the world of special operations, results spoke louder than preconceptions. The room had indeed gone silent when Viper Falcon proved her worth, and in that silence was the most profound respect any operator could earn.